Yeah, I've been looking forward to this presentation, and I've been looking forward to meeting my friends that are here. But before I go on, let me actually acknowledge the presence of my very senior colleague, Brigadier General David Buba, retired, who is the Commandant General of this outfit. It's a pleasure to see you, sir. It's an honor to join you. We were having a conversation just before I came up, and he told me that, I was telling him that, I was in National Defense College in 2010. And he looked at me and said, I was there 2008. And I said, okay, so this is my organ here, you know. So he's actually a very senior colleague. He's 25th course, while I'm 32nd course. So it's really nice to have you here, sir. It's a pleasure, sir. Let me also acknowledge the corps commander, who is my very good friend. I told him earlier that there is no way I could have come to Warwick this time, if not for somebody like him. You may recall that just about 1 year ago, I actually spoke the truth to the government. This is just about the 1 year anniversary, so I'm being very careful where I go, what I do. But when the commandant asked for me to be here, I said nothing is going to stop me from coming to actually exchange views and learning with the gentlemen of the corps. Let me also quickly mention the ACG Boniface Oj, who is the Delta State Nigerian chairman. A pleasure to be with you here, sir. Yeah, let us now go to the lecture proper. But before that time, I must also acknowledge my second half, Dr. Mrs. Olawunmi. Since last year, it has been a habit. Whenever I want to go out like this, she has to be with me. So please help me to acknowledge her. I told the government 1 year ago that we're going to be at this point. Some of you that watched the video on YouTube, when I told the government that they actually didn't know about what is going on in the country, a lot of people were not happy with me. But I told them that within the next 2 years, they will prove me right. And they have. Isn't it? Yes. That is why today we are coming to look at the scourge that has emanated from that inaction of government. A lot of people are always scared to talk the truth to the government. But when you study Clausewitz, if you study Clausewitz, he said the society is made up of 3 things. And they call it the concept of Trinity. In other words, the society is made up of the people, the government, and the military. So if you draw a triangle, you are going to have the people at the top of the apex, at the pyramid. So it is from the people that the government comes from, isn't it? Yes. Anybody that is the governor of Delta State today is there because you voted him there. Because you asked him to represent you. And you surrender your sovereignty to him. That's why he's there. And if he's not performing as the governor, you have the right to talk to him. Or there are provisions in the Constitution, you can ask him to come back, or you can go to the state legislator, the state House of Assembly, talk to your people there to impeach him and remove him from there. I don't know how we got to the point where we're always afraid of people that we put in position to represent us. Look at the country. And yet we are afraid to talk to them. The people are superior to the military. They are superior to the government. And they have the right to tell the government the truth when they are not doing well. So today we are going to look at these three concepts, because this is what we have gotten into in the country, where people are being kidnapped every day, people are being taken hostages, and ragtag, untrained people are going to negotiate with terrorists and collecting billions. And the government is looking up. It's an anomaly. This doesn't happen in any sane country, where terrorists will take people, then somebody will go into the bush, negotiate with them, and collect 100 million and give to the terrorists, and they will release them. And the government is watching. And it has become a culture. Now, let us look at the conceptual. Because most of us, we mistake the concepts. Kidnapping, hostage taking. They sound familiar, they sound like they're the same thing, isn't it? But they're not. So, let us look at this. To abduct someone is to commit a crime of kidnapping persons and holding them for ransom. So you can see now abduction is used here now in form of an adjective. Now to abduct someone is to commit a crime of kidnapping. So sometimes we say, oh, abduction, it was abducted. Yes, but the crime is kidnapping. And when you hold them to ransom, it means that it's for economic reason. You are taking somebody for economic reason. That means you are like a criminal. You are taking somebody and they have to pay you to release him. So the motive is financial. When the motive is no longer commercial, then we are going to have a different scenario completely. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to motives. The principal motives for kidnapping are to subject the victim to some form of involuntary servitude. Involuntary servitude. To expose him to the commission of some further criminal act against this person, or to obtain ransom for his safety release. I think these are things that are familiar to all of us. People are captured, people are kidnapped, people are abducted, and they ask for money, and the government just simply allow it. We are going to get to the issue when the motive is not economy. But before we go, let's check the causes. What we have cases of kidnapping, hostage taking in Nigeria. Why do we have? I have a list of about 8 of them. One of it is abject poverty. Because we're going to later get to the issue of terrorism, how some of these actions is also political. You'll see the second one is corruption and fraud. Today, I think Nigeria is about the most corrupt country in the world right now. And you remember the government is here to actually fight for corruption and to reduce our trepidation and fear of terrorism, of Boko Haram. And the economy, the Naira, we know what the Naira is doing. Most of us are we are poorer today than we were in 2015. Am I correct? Yes. If your salary is 100,000 in 2015, and you can buy about 5 bags of rice, I'm sure you can buy more in 2015, isn't it? Because a bag of rice used to be about 7,000. How much is a bag of rice now? Okay, so that's how you measure your well-being. And I did a research on the issue of terrorism, Fulani herdsmen, and so on, and I find out that it's not usually what we think. It's usually because of bad governance. You are poorly governed. Your economic state is going down, your welfare is going down, your health is going down, your security is going down. Then you're going to find yourself in a situation whereby I'm weary, I'm afraid to travel by road from here to Abuja. Hitherto, in 2015, I could go in the night, by night bus, from here to Abuja. But I think I'm going to think twice to do that. So that's why I said corruption and fraud is one of the major reasons why we have this topic we are having today. The other one is political influence. What do I mean by political influence? If some people come all the way from Niger, from Sudan, from Chad, from the Sahel, and they will just walk into the country and start to rape our women, burning our mosques, because believe me or not, they have killed more Muslims than they have killed more Christians. Go and check the statistics. They burn more mosques in Maiduguri, Kano, than they burn churches. So they kill our Muslims, kill our Christians, they rape people, they take people for ransom. So when you look at the third point on the screen, who can tell me the third point? Political. And in the past 5-7 years, nobody has been prosecuted. Have you observed that? That in this country, I've not seen anywhere that somebody has been prosecuted in the court and sentenced to death or sentenced to hanging or life imprisonment for committing terrorism. Have you seen it? Or is it that the government are unable? Let us exchange views, because you are here, come here to learn. Is it that the government is unable? Okay, I want us to manage the two important words. Is government unable or unwilling? Okay, that's how we have that point, political influence. When a Fulani man kills somebody, which these are facts, and is arrested, the commissioner of police or somebody is called and the person is released immediately. I mean, there are facts, there are figures, there are incidences. So, when we say, what are the causes? It's because nobody has been punished. If I kidnap you and I'm paid 100 million, and I'm arrested, and after 2 days I'm free, I will do it again. That's what I will do it again. Now, look at the rate of inflation in Nigeria. Somebody said I'm an economist. Of course, I went to University of Nigeria and I read economics major. Look at the rate of inflation. Look at the exchange rate. Look at the exchange rate of Naira to dollar. Who can remind me what the exchange rate was in 2015? Who can tell me what is it today? So if I'm a farmer and I want to import a tractor to help me with my farm, in 2015, I have a better chance of importing the tractor than today. Is that correct? Yes. How does that affect production in Nigeria? Production of food? Because we don't manufacture tractors. So we need to import them to enhance agriculture. Now, what does that translate to? Joblessness. Well, most of our industries are closing down. Look at the price of diesel. I sometimes try to give my own personal example. You know, I have some other things I do, and I know I've closed down one or two because we cannot afford the price of diesel. Another son also complained a few days ago that his fish farm is going down because the price of diesel is making him not to make profit again. So you can see the fourth point, because when you are talking about causes, I don't want you to look at the immediate causes of this scourge. What I discovered in intelligence is that most people that are not properly trained, as we are training now, they are often looking at the immediate causes of problem. But there are remote causes that are more important to that immediate causes. So if you look at the other one, terrorism. 1 year ago, I had to force this government to pronounce these ragtag militants, to call them the name they are, terrorists. And I think after that interview, they started calling them terrorists. Are you aware? Yes. So, when we talk about kidnapping, hostage taking, and so on, joblessness is one of the causes, terrorism is one of the causes, lack of capital punishment by the government is another one. As I said, 400 people were arrested last year in April. They were sponsoring, they were financing terror. Some of us were also arrested in Dubai and they were tried and their names were sent to us. If the government is not willing to try them justly, we're not saying they should just do anything to them. They should try them in a court of law. And if they are found guilty, what are they supposed to do? If you punish them, it's not going to deter other people from doing the same. If you don't punish them, what is it going to do? It's going to embolden other people to go into the business. And that is why we are here today. The other one is that one has to do with individuals. You know, the value system has changed, and the pension to make quick money. Now let's look at other concepts. Kidnapping is the taking away of a person by force, threat, or deceit with intent to cause him or her to be detained against or her will. Now, look at the caveat. Kidnapping may be done for ransom or for political or other purposes. I want to engage the class. What are the other purposes why people are kidnapped? Ransom is one. Political purpose is one. Eliminate, yes. Another person? Ritual, yes. Another one? Say?
Great fear.
Yeah, to create fear or trepidation. Say?
Revenge.
Revenge, yes.
Jealousy.
Jealousy. Now, gentlemen, do you know that human spare parts are very expensive now? So, if I catch you, I can become almost close to, I can get like 500 million from you. If I take those vital parts at the right place at the right time and I'm able to preserve them, I can make 500 million from one person. So, there are other purposes why people are kidnapped. One of them is for spare parts. You know, you can remove your heart, your lungs, kidney, your liver. And on a lighter mode, you know, some of us also eat human beings. Do you know that? I've been in some operations where we arrested some people, and if I tell you the place, you'll be surprised. In River State, we arrest people, and when we go to their houses, you see dry human beings that they used to drink, you know, take a rip, you know. I also know a place in Delta here, where when two communities go to war, they catch the other person and eat the heart. But that makes the other person stronger. Chop his heart, you know. So, let us look at abduction. tell me the difference between kidnapping and adoption. Remember the earlier definition? Abduction is if I trick a little child. Oh, come and take sweets. Go and buy me something. When you bring it, I give you change. By persuasion. Maybe I see a lady and I say, oh, come and see me later in the evening. You know, I'll give you 50K per night. And the lady is happy. Yeah, you can get 50,000 tonight. You should be able to take care of her mother and her siblings and so on. And she comes. So that is by fraud. Or by force or violence. Now let me go back to the other slide. I mean, the upper quadrant. For political. You saw what happened during the train that moved from Kaduna that was going to Abuja. So that is kidnapping for political reason. I just say I should mention that. Because we are talking about kidnapping for ransom or for political. And that is what terrorists do. They want to force the hand of government for political reason to release those people they have arrested that are in Kuje prison. So if you don't release our men in Kuje prison, then we are not going to release this one. You can see the difference between when it is political and when it is for ransom. I just want the student to be clear about that. When they say kidnapping for political, it means that the objective or the motive is to bend the hand of government to do their own will. Okay? So that is the political aspect. And abduction is a criminal aspect, which is different from. So let's look at kidnapping in Nigeria. Remember the Niger Delta issue? You know, they used to kidnap some Wimbos those days too. Remember? Some of them that are here. I operated here for a very long time, from Sapele to Okara, to Warri, to Rivers, Ugedi, and so on. This is my zone. And I remember some of you that are from Sapele, the Okerigwe boys, the Waja boys. Are they here? Are they not there?
Yes, sir.
You are here. They used to be my friend those days, you know. So, you have situation on our hands where, you know, the Niger Delta militants also, they used to capture some Nigerian industrial workers. Then you see the Boko Haram too, they are also motivated, you know, for this reason that I put on the board. For labor, they need men to fight for them. They need soldiers to also fight for them, and they need wives. Can you imagine? The terrorists need wives. Well, how does they have time? They capture cheaper girls and marry them. And take tramadol and take drugs, and they're in the bush for years, and they're making babies for them. So that's the color, the creed of kidnapping in Nigeria, where you have criminals, drug addicts, you know, getting involved in terrorism. Then you have other militant groups in the north that are also kidnapping foreigners to do what? To raise money. And that is why it's outside the scope of this lecture. We are looking at 2023. Is it going to happen or not? You see where they have terrorists or militants or having billions on their hands. They capture so many people and they now charge 100 million. They catch a pastor of Redeem today, they are sure of getting 100 million. So they've been targeting Redeem because they think they have money. No, but that's not the issue. The issue is when people kidnap and they're making so much money. That was why I came out to discuss with the government last year that they do not understand the danger. In the world today, we have the people they call the deep state. D-E-E-P, deep state. They are the ones that rule the world. Forget about the United States, Russia, China. There are people that actually govern the world. They determine who becomes the president of the country. They determine the economy. You look at coronavirus. Who are the people behind it? Yeah, you see, that's what we read in the press. China, yes, it's from China, from Wuhan. Oh, some people say, oh, it was actually developed in Canada, and they infected some 2 Chinese people and sent them back to Wuhan. They spread it from there. Gentlemen, you are here to learn. There are people that we call the deep states that actually causes all this coronavirus, monkeypox, all those virus, Ebola virus. It's their job to do that so that the pharmaceutical companies can become billionaires and trillionaires. That's how they make money. They only make money when you are sick and forced to take vaccine for your coronavirus. So in Nigeria, I want to put it down to Nigeria. When you see people that are kidnapping you and they're collecting 100 million and they're making billions within a short period, do you know what's going to happen in 2023? They're going to determine who will be the chairman of a local government. They're going to determine who's going to be the candidate for the governorship election. They want to determine who's going to be the president of the country. That is how dangerous it is. But when I was telling the government last year, they are not happy with me because they don't understand that these people that are sponsoring these narratives are going to become so powerful, so rich, that they determine the election outcome. Let's assume in Katsina, you want to be chairman of, I used to go to a place they call Jibia. Anybody from the north here? Megaman. Anybody? I used to go there. Those days I used to operate across Nigeria. We used to prevent arms from coming in from Nigeria. I used to enter to Nigeria all the time. And there's a chairman of Jibia. He never stayed in Jibia. He's permanently in Katsina or in Kano. Anytime you want to pay salary, he will appear, he will share the salary, and he goes back. Now, imagine if you now want to be chairman of the local government in Jibia, and the warlord there, let me call them the warlord, the terrorist head there, is not your friend. Can you contest for that election? That is the danger of what the government is playing with. Now they are in the south. And they are going to determine the election outcome, because if they say there's not going to be election, they start shooting here, then everybody will run, isn't it? So I think we are playing with something that is not supposed to be played with. So they kidnap foreigners to raise money. This money they are raising is the danger. They become so wealthy and so powerful that we are going to have problems on our hand. Now let's quickly go to the cost of Nigerian security. Gentlemen, look at the number of people that have been killed. 571 were kidnapped in January alone. I'm not talking about this year. January 2022. Look at the number of people that were kidnapped. And look at the number of people that were killed. Just in January. I don't think I need to explain more on this one. If you are losing this kind of number of people, and we are not in a state of declared war, I don't think we lost so many people in Nigeria even during the Civil War. I studied the Civil War. I was in the National Defense College with my guy here, and I don't think we lost so many people that we have lost since 2015. A lot of people are being killed every day. So let us look at this scourge. We are looking at whether they are criminal offense. Are they criminal offense? If you unlawfully detain somebody, you see somebody and put him in detention, is it criminal? Yes. That means we have extant laws to try them. Yes or no? Yes. Have we been trying them? No. Okay, I will ask you why. But maybe during question and answer time, we are going to treat them. Now, look at the position of Nigeria. Nigeria ranks among the most country where people have been kidnapped in the world. 3,000 people are kidnapped in 2021 alone. And the figure this year, as of January, is 571. That means by the end of the year, we're going to have more than 3,000 people that have been kidnapped. And take note that people are paying money to get them released. So if you have 3,000 people times 100 million, who can do that estimate for me? 3,000, use your phone times 100 million. That's what is going to the hands of the so-called kidnappers. It's a very lucrative business. Somebody should give me the answer later. So look at this slide now. Kidnapping and hostage taking. Now we are going to another realm now. Kidnapping range from express kidnap of a short duration, where I just catch somebody and quickly I get paid, to where victims may be forced to withdraw money from an ATM. I can catch you and say, okay, give me your code, or I escort you to the ATM in the night by 2 a.m. and you withdraw money for me, and to a captivity of several months. So that's kidnapping. Now look at hostage taking. Short duration, standoff, confrontation between the offenders and the security forces. So, as you have been trained here, always try to distinguish between kidnapping and hostage taking. If I committed a crime in this hall, and you block the road and you say, I'm not going anywhere, you want to arrest me, and I grab somebody and I put my gun on his head, and I say, if you don't allow me to go, I'm going to shoot him. I'm ready to die, but this guy is going to die with me. What do you call that? That is hostage taking. So you must differentiate this. There is usually a standoff between you security guys and that person. The person is willing to die, but it's not going down alone. Do you understand? So, when you confine somebody without holding the legal authority to do so, then that person is referred to as what? As a captor. And it is kidnapping. You understand now the difference? There's a standoff. I need somebody to allow me to have my way. And the other one is when, now let's look at hostage taking again. The act of seizing or holding a person as security for the fulfillment of a condition. That is the definition, so you should take note. I don't know whether the commander is going to allow them to have copies of the PowerPoint. Okay, so just pay attention. So, a hostage is a person seized by an abductor in order to compare, and that is one of the major topics where we are going to the next important topic, which is negotiation. How do you negotiate your way with a terrorist? So, just know that it is a crime to take people hostage. I don't need to explain that. These are the data for, can you make it bigger for them? So you can see, these are the data in the North Central. You can see that it is more. In Northwest, the killings there, look at the number of kidnapping. And this is just in January alone. In January alone this year, these are the figures of people that have been kidnapped. This is data done by one of my very good friends, David Otto. He is the owner of Eon's Intelligence, and is one of the very formidable data group for the current intelligence estimate in Nigeria. Next slide. Now, to economics of it, I want to let you know why you are in this state, why our debt profile has gone so up, why government of Delta State is finding it difficult to pay salary and pension. Does kidnapping accelerate capital flight in developing countries? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. How many people want to come to Nigeria to invest today? Most of the companies in Nigeria are going to where? Ghana, Benin, Togo. So, when you don't have investment in your country, when you don't manufacture goods and services, and when you cannot even import because your naira is just like paper, like tissue paper. So that is why the inflation is high. That is why there's a lot of poverty going on in the country. So kidnapping accelerates capital flight in developing countries. Most of the Chinese that are making business in Nigeria, they don't keep their money here. Immediately they make the money, the Indians, the Pakistanians, some of the people working in the oil companies in Delta, once they get their money, they send it out. Because the way the naira is falling every day, If you buy something today at 10,000, if you are not careful, in the next 1 week, you're going to buy like 12,000 or more. Isn't it? Yes. So, that is what insecurity does to a country. So that's why it causes capital flight. So, and it also affects Nigeria to be able to sustain its capital and its economy. And that is why we have this kind of situation in our hands. When people are being kidnapped every day. I'll give an example of one of my uncles. Uncle Bello, that's his name, is the owner of Olawunmi farms in Ogun State. He invested about 3.something billion naira because I was with him when he was negotiating with First Bank, and he started one of the largest farms in Ogun State, more than 3,000 hectares of cassava, the largest farm in West Africa. What happened? He brought in a Swiss to manage the farm, a German, some people from Thailand, some people from South Africa, and the farm was very big. And even BBC came there to do a documentary. What happened? They went there, first of all, and kidnapped the German and took him away. My uncle was going up and down. I remember he has to pay 25 million that time. They've not started collecting this 100 million. But they paid 25 million. The moment the German came back, he took the next flight and ran back to Germany. So my uncle was having a problem because he's the main engineer for the manufacturing, because they don't just they process the cassava and take a lot of things out and export. So he went to Switzerland. I still talked to my uncle yesterday. He's in London and he's trying to get people. Went to Switzerland and got another expert. The man came, I met him, I have his phone number, we normally chat. So he started doing the biggest silo. If you go to that hotel in Ogun State, my uncle's company is next to it. Very big silos where they store corn and all this dry something for in case for rainy day people want to buy. And if you're a big farmer, they buy off everything you produce and they store, just like they do in France. One day he went with the people that gave him loan, the First Bank and so on, with the Swiss guy. They were attacked by the Janjaweeds, by the Fulani men. They killed one of his drivers, shot the other one on the arm, and abducted the Swiss again. They took the Swiss away for 7 days. They were negotiating until they paid. He told me he will never tell me how much he paid. He paid so much money to get the money. The moment the man came out, took the next flight, and ran back to Switzerland. What I'm telling you, you won't feel it except you are involved. You take a loan of about 3.something billion, and people are capturing your experts, and they are running away. So the silos, the company now is being overgrown by bush because my uncle is even afraid to go back there. The Oyinbos have run away, and the place is being overgrown by bush. As I'm talking now. My uncle also now ran back to London. As I'm talking now, he's in London trying to get people, and they're afraid. They say they can't come to Nigeria. Now, that is what the government is doing to the economy, and they do not realize it. If people capture people, you're a kidnapper, you are arrested, then the policeman is told to release you. Okay, you release him because he's your tribesman. But you are destroying completely. You are destroying the economy of the country. Do you know how many of my colleagues have left the country? Drain. People are living in droves. You go to the airport, you see people Nigerians are living, doctors, everybody is living. But some people are in Nassau Rock and they're very happy, they're very comfortable, they're okay. It's like, are they really serious? Is this happening? But it is happening. Look at your roads. Can you move from here to Agbo without destroying your vehicles? Electricity is not there. So what are we doing? Is this governance? I don't think so. So let us go to the next important one. Why I brought this one, thank you, is that, you know, there's a man, I don't want to mention his name, that normally negotiate when they capture people. I'm sure you know him. So When your commander told me to come and discuss this, I said, I will be very happy to do this. Because it is wrong for that man, I don't want to mention his name, to go to the bush and be negotiating with terrorists. What is the outcome of the negotiation? Is it not money and release? Is that negotiation? The answer is no. If I negotiate, I should be able to take that person out without paying you money. There should be another way we compromise. What exactly do you want? Finally, it is government to the so-called terrorists, which I will still talk about it. Then, if I negotiate and you collect 100 million from me, and you release the man to me, then you should not live for the next 24 hours. You should be dead. Yes or no? Yes. You should not be on the surface of this earth after that. You've collected 100 million, right? And I've taken the man. Then you are going to die in the next 1 hour. Because the fighter jets will come overhead as we are going and they burn that place to ashes. Is that not what government is doing? Yes. Okay. The government is not aware of what I'm saying. They don't know. I'm the only one that knows. I'm very brilliant, very intelligent. Of course, the government knows. So, we're going to look at what is negotiation. Now, look at that question. That is why I'm here. Commandant, can negotiation be arranged with terrorists? So that's a question we're going to throw to each other. Our time is fast spent. Next slide, please. Now, we are going to take this one home. And I believe, I bet you that many schools, including, I've been to Jaji, I've been to National Defense College where my Oga has gone. These things are not really taught because it's not in our culture to negotiate with terrorists. Oga will tell you that we don't negotiate with terrorists, and I'll tell you why. Next slide. So, these are the process. You know, you must have your skill agreement. The business is the business of releasing the captives, then compromise, have a discussion, and deal. Next slide, because we are going to have the slides later. So a negotiation is a strategic discussion. Are you taking note? That resolves an issue in a way that both parties, listen, both parties find acceptable. In other words, I'm not ready to part with 100 million naira to secure my uncle. And you said 100 million, okay? So how do we come to an agreement? And remember in Ondo State recently, the terrorists said they want 10 million. And the people said, please, they negotiated. They gave them how much? 5 million. And they collected the 5 million and did what? Are you not following the news? They collected the 5 million and killed the man, all the same. You know, why should we give us 5 million? And this is why this lecture is very important. If you are negotiating, you must reach a compromise. You must get to a point where both of you really agree. No, otherwise, the guy is not happy. It's okay, bring the 5 million. Collect the 5 million in your presence, you open fire on the man. And tell you to go and tell the people that they will capture another person and they will still collect them million. And the government is doing what? It's like drama, you know, this African magic, you know? Okay. Next slide. It's very small, but I think what is there is that you don't discuss with terrorists. And you'll get the slide, but the point I'm trying to make is practical. You remember when the government told us last week that it's not like they didn't do anything. They negotiated with those terrorists that capture people on the train. And this is in the news. I'm not the one saying it. And it's the spokesperson of the president that said what I'm telling you. So it's not that I'm formulating a story. We negotiated with them. They said this is what they want. I will give them. Oh, we want this again. And he said, but you said this is what you want and we are giving you. He said, no. We have taken down, but this is what we want now. Okay. You know, we can't do that, but we're trying to see a way to do it. So they went to Kuje prison and did what? And did what? Let the government actually say that's not what happened. Okay? The terrorists wanted their people in Kuje prison. We can't give you. Because everybody will say, why should we do that? But we can look the other way, why you can help yourself. Gentlemen, this is not a laughing matter. This is about governance. This is about governance. If you are not ready to govern, what's your business there? If you cry, you know, and you say you want to be our president, whatever you want to be, and now you're there, it's a serious business. Okay, you capture those people there, and yet, oh, we won't give you. We still want something else. What else do we want? We want money, and they're collecting money. 100 million, 100 million, 100 million. They've made billions. They've collected their children, their wife, their friends in the prison, and they're still collecting money. And that is why I'm here. Commander, take it from me. You can never negotiate with terrorists. Don't do it. They will never. I mean, today they say this, tomorrow they say another thing. Why? They are non-state actors. You don't negotiate with non-state actors. Who can help me? What do you do with them? You negotiate from position of superior power. Do you understand? The negotiation is not to sit down with them, it's to do what? It's to send them back to their makers. Somebody manufactured them, have you? And you send them back there. Whatever it will take. Don't negotiate with terrorists. They don't have principles. They don't even have a house. They don't have nothing. They live in the bush. So if you talk to them, they say, okay, this is what we want to give them. Okay, let's even assume another situation where, let's say I'm negotiating with the leader of the terrorists, and he agreed with me. And some of the members are not happy. And after he has agreed with me, and we have come to the compromise, and I've given them what they want, then another person will just open fire on him and kill him. It happened in Angola. It's an old story, so you may not know it. Jonas Savimbi negotiated, and the CIA, it was in 2001, they will send some other special forces there, and it was killed. So, you don't negotiate with terrorists, and that is the essence of this lecture. I want you to go away from here to understand when people say don't negotiate with terrorists, and some people will now say, oh, if you don't negotiate with them, so what happened? Do you want them to kill your people? Of course, they will still collect your money and kill them anyway. And if they don't kill them, they can collect 100 million and release them. And another group will go again and capture them and take them away. You pay 100 million again, isn't it? So what you need to do is to send them back to who made them, who will now judge them. It's not for us to judge them. It's to send them back to where? Whoever made them. But I don't think God makes people like that. Next slide. I'm skipping because I know that you are going to have access to So I'm going to quickly tell you the stages. Please take note of this one, it's important. You're still going to see it in the slide. The skills you require is number one, preparation, if you are going to negotiate. The teaching I'm doing today, gentlemen, is not about negotiating with terrorists. It's if Nigeria is going to war with Cameroon and you need to negotiate Bakassi. Fortunately also I was involved in Bakassi issue and I know how we eventually lost Bakassi to the Cameroon, but it's not for this lecture. But when it comes to negotiation, the step 6.1, preparation. The second one is open discussion. Open discussion. The explanation is on the slide. Open discussion. The third one is clarifying goals. What is my goal? If my goal is to have Bakassi Peninsula and the goal of my enemy or the adversary is to have Bakassi Peninsula, so how are we going to do it? So you have to clarify your goals. And the fourth point is negotiating together. That's the fourth point, negotiating together. The fifth point is agreeing. That is very important. You have to agree. Once negotiations are over, an agreement should be in place that considers each party's desire, motivation, interest, and goals. An agreement should be clear so there aren't any misunderstandings or confusion about each party's responsibilities and gains. This is why you cannot negotiate with terrorists, because of number 5, agreeing. You are agreeing with somebody because you believe, you trust that is a principled person and is going to abide with those agreements. But if you negotiate with terrorists and you agree with the terrorists and you turn your back, he can open fire on you. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
He can just shoot you. And so what? What happened? He has no value. He has no wife. He has no money in the bank. He has no family. You are the one that you don't want to die. So he can open fire on you. I give an example of what happened in Akure or in Ondo recently, where they collected 5 million and they still killed the person and shot the Okada man that brought the money and said to hell with it. So agreement is very important, and sometimes it may take time. You don't rush negotiation. If you don't agree today, no problem. Give time again, you come back until you come to that agreement. Because our time is well spent, I'll go to this last point, which is implementation. If you want to talk about implementation plan, because if you don't have enough money to spend, you may actually have problems. So let me go to what we normally call in the work college recommendation. So what is the solution? I'll just give you the usual recommendation, but for this lecture I'm not going to give you what the recommendation is supposed to really be for Nigeria, but I will give you the academic recommendation. We establish an effective border control for all Nigeria. Is it possible? Is it really possible? Effective border control in Nigeria? Are we willing to do that?
Yes.
Somebody said yes. Somebody said no. But it's possible. So take note of that. If you can police your border, then that's one of the solutions. Now, the other one is provision of a reliable identification number for each individual. Is it possible?
Yes.
Are we willing to do that?
No.
But is it important we do that for everybody to have an identification number?
Yes.
For us to conduct census so that we know how many are we really? Is it not possible?
No.
So that's the solution. Then we have to look at the issue of social benefit. Because if all of us have social identification number, like BVN number and so on, we can know who is doing what, and at the same time, if government is very serious, he can pay money to your accounts because they know you. Understand? That's why the issue of identification is there. Now, the third point here is curbing corruption among law enforcement agencies. Is it possible?
Yes.
Somebody said no. Is it possible to ask our police friend not to collect money? Yeah, I like that. It is possible, but are we willing to do it? So, gentlemen, take home today from this lecture, because I came all the way to come and give you this. There's a difference between to be willing and able. Please take note of that. The government is unwilling, but they are able. That's why you're saying, yes, it's possible, Babi. Yes. So, the government is what? Unwilling. But they are what? Able. But we have situations in other countries. I've served in some other countries. I've operated in Angola and Benin and Ghana and so on, in Niger. There are some countries, genuinely, they are unable. They are also unwilling. Take note of that. It's in 3 parts. Unwilling, unable. There are countries that are willing to do it, but they are unable. Like Benin Republic, like Niger. They are willing, but they don't have enough money, they don't have enough capacity, they don't have mineral resources. But Nigeria is able, but it's unwilling. That's the situation we find ourselves. So that takes me to the last point here, which I tag as what? Who can say it on the board? Solution. Yeah, the second solution, good governance. Can you make it bigger for them? Good governance. That means Nigerians will come with new policy, adaptation, implementation, public awareness, empowerment programs, SIM card registration, quitting ransom payment. Did you hear that? Yes. Don't pay ransom. Why it has become an epidemic is because we encourage the payment of ransom. It's a military operation. Okay, agree with me that in combat operations, there's what we call casualties, and collaterals. Sometimes if you want to get something done, there must be collateral damages, isn't it? And sometimes we have provision for 10%. 10%. And you cannot know how small 10% can be. If kidnappers have taken 20 people from this hall and taken them away and they're asking for 1 bill, I can decide to send a note of lesson or a warning to the terrorists by wiping out both the terrorists and the kidnappers and the people. Of course, that's casualty, that's collateral, it's not good. But I think another terrorist that want to do the same will say, this president is a madman. Oh boy. You know what it is? He just wipe up everybody. But it's painful. We've lost some people. But it can prevent further people. Because they know if they do it again and they know where they are, they will wipe both the terrorists and the people. But if you don't have policies, as I mentioned, and you keep on paying ransom, then you're going to keep on encouraging people to be catching people. Why should I come and wear uniform and stay here if I can capture the SSG and get 100 million? And it's easier to capture the SSG than to work for 100 million. So we should discourage, paying of ransom. The community policing, just like you are doing, commandants, you are doing a good job. Issue of community policing can also help. If all of you are proliferated around the town, it's going to do what we call the KGB approach, where every citizen knows that if you look at the bag, you're going to see a legionnaire marching in his uniform around you. People are going to be a bit careful. So community policing is one of the solutions. And how do we stop small arms proliferation? I will conclude by telling you that myself and my wife were at, what do you call that place when you are entering Lagos? After the long bridge. Beggar, hallelujah. We took a boat and he has a problem and we were at the under that bridge, the pedestrian. And you won't believe it, she's here, testify. People are coming, you know how they normally come from the north? In trailers, and buses. And we were watching, the police approached one of the bus, asked everybody to come out. When you look at them, these are not Nigerians. I could see, I know Nigerians, I know how they look, And they talk, and I was watching. Then I said, what happened? They collected something and asked them to enter the vehicle again. And in my presence, the vehicle drove into Lagos. And they are coming like that. Now the same police is locking down Lagos. What are you locking down? When you are the people that allow them to enter by paying peanuts. And that is why I said, if you can stop small arms proliferation, because inside those buses are arms, AK-47, ammunitions, they bring cows, under the cows you have. This is going to be explosives in the short run, maybe between now and December. Next slide. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.